Hello, I'm Mike Biffle, and I made, well,
Yeah, there's
this
commentary.
game, Thomas Was Alone. Thank you for buying a copy. That's very kind of you, unless you've pirated it, in which case, please go and buy a copy. It's in sales quite regularly, hopefully. It's weird speaking to you from the past. So, this is Thomas. He was named originally by the community. The game. So this is step one, side-to-side movement. If you're a
Wait, hold on. You have to let him finish his commentary.
Hello, I'm Mike Biffle, and I made, well, this game, Thomas Was Alone. Thank you for buying.
Then that's gonna screw up. Okay.
Hello,
Let's try this
I'm
again.
Mike Biffle, and I made, well, this game, Thomas Was Alone. Thank you for buying a copy. That's very kind of you, unless you've pirated it, in which case, please go and buy a copy. It's in sales quite
This is
regularly,
really cool.
hopefully. It's weird speaking to you from the past. So, this is Thomas. He was named originally by the community. The game's name, Thomas Was Alone, was arrived upon by a friend of mine who sarcastically suggested I should call the game Thomas Was Alone because that's emo, and emos would like it. And emos post links. Which was sarcastic and lame in a weird way, but also actually weirdly right. We found that people were associating the red rectangle at the start of the game with the name Thomas. So giving the game that name immediately started a story going. And that happened in lots of ways throughout the game, and I'll talk about that a little bit more.
This is really cool.
So this is step one, side-to-side movement. If you're a platforming game fan, it should not present too much of a challenge to you. But here it's really just about easing the player into the way the world works. Seeing gravity for the first time, understanding how falling feels, and then actually kind of talking about that in the voiceover to kind of have a bit of fun with it. It's also introducing the idea of a narrated story, and it's introducing Thomas, so we hopefully kind of do quite a few things here at the same time. It also does the job of setting up Thomas as an inquisitive character. This is really important, and he becomes inquisitive, he becomes more and more interested by the world and tries to make assumptions about it, and that's kind of what his character is all about, at least at the start. Jumping had to be right. It's kind of the main way you interact in this game, obviously. I did a lot of research. I got kind of obsessive about it. It took me, I was still fiddling with the jump physics, I think, about 3 weeks before I launched the game. So it's something that just got fiddled with and fiddled with and fiddled with. It had to feel right. And yeah, there's one problem here actually, and we'll talk about problems on this as well. I think the biggest issue here was that the speech is a bit misjudged. It takes a little bit long to get through, so most players when they play the game have already jumped and are at the exit by the time Danny suggests that they should jump. So I think that's an issue throughout a few of these first levels. So I think going back, I would have done maybe a bit briefer here. This is a challenging jump.
Good
So this is a jump where the player can fail at it. So there's a gap, but the whole point of this level is to introduce the idea of jump distance and the fact that you can fall from a jump, but hopefully in kind of a safe environment. So here you can't die, you can't lose. All you're going to do is keep doing it until you succeed. And it's kind of a little bit easier than it looks as well. So hopefully, even if a player gets frustrated and just keeps clicking through it, they will actually eventually succeed. And the voiceover kind of calls attention to that in kind of a fun way as well, just to kind of reiterate that to the player. I played a lot of Uncharted before making this level, and it's kind of inspired by those kind of scripted moments in games. I didn't do as many in the game as I kind of expected to at the start. There's a few reasons for that, but I guess the main one was that once the players kind of, gets the mechanics in a good enough way, I didn't want to completely kind of overwhelm them with stuff that wasn't as interactive. But here it's cool because it sets up failure for the first time. It sets up what failure looks like, it sets up challenge, but it's not real. So you can't fail this map unless you run backwards. If you run forwards, the columns don't fall until you've actually left them, which hopefully kind of does the job of explaining that a little bit better. So this is a subtle one, but it's kind of important. And I know I'm talking a lot about game design introduction. This is by the way, this isn't like innovative in any way. This is Mario. This is every game you ever played. But I think it's kind of interesting to go through the steps. So here, this is a very specific skill. This is jumping up onto steps, but pressing jump and then moving once you've pressed jump. So here, if you just hold down, the direction key and then jump, you're actually going to hit the bottom of a staircase. What you need to do is jump and then in midair move across. And this is just a really subtle, simple level that kind of introduces that as a concept to the player. They don't actually have to do it that much in the main game, but it's useful to just kind of make sure that that's something I know the player can do at this early stage. So here is we're extrapolating on precision. It's essentially we've done it in the previous level. We've made you do it, and here we're kind of queuing up a few of those. So if you fail at one, you can actually force yourself to go back a couple of steps in the progress. This is kind of the first time we're challenging the player, which is important, but it's important as well that it's not overwhelming. It's still very early days. I haven't yet shown you the kind of the differentiating mechanic of Thomas. So it's again just kind of bringing players up to speed with stuff and starting to show them how a game would work in this space.
Lol.
Didn't add respawning to the game until about a month before release. It's a classic example of something that every playtest I ever did. So basically, if you died in the game previous to a month before it came out, you were basically reset the level. So it didn't matter how much progress you'd made, you'd reset the level to the very start of the level, your characters back where they started. Which means that you could, if you died late on in a level, lose about 5 minutes of gameplay. This was not good. And the playtesters told me at length in capital letters that it wasn't good in emails. But what I tried to do, what I realised was it was very hard to do, but I worked out about a month before release how to do it, and went back and added all these respawner points. And I'm so glad I did. If I hadn't done that, I think the game would have got very, 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 very tedious instead of its current level of kind of reasonable tediousness. It's also the reason why I think the game, sometimes people feel the game might be a little bit too easy, because I built the levels with that kind of failure in mind. So as you go through most of the levels in Thomas, they actually get easier as they go on, because I didn't want players to get frustrated. So I think that might be something I should make sure that I have the respawning system planned more than a month before release next time.
So the creator did like an entire commentary track for every level of the game.
That's cool.
He talks about like how he made it, design decisions. It's just the first levels here, but it's already been some really interesting stuff. Like these respawn points. He was saying he only added them in like a month before the game launched, and it was still like tweaking the jump mechanics like a couple weeks before the game launched, like right up until the end. Also, he said the name Thomas is Alone. I guess they named the rectangle Thomas as part of the Kickstarter, and then one of his friends said Thomas is Alone was a good name because it was emo, and emo people post lots of links, so it would be good for like publicity to call it Thomas is Alone.
Lighting. It's a weird one, the lighting. I didn't have lighting at one stage, there wasn't light. Then there was sounding a bit biblical. But as it went on, I kind of added that in. Initially, I was doing them by hand for every level, and basically this procedural system kind of came out of laziness. I didn't want to do that anymore. And weirdly, as a side effect of that, it was cool, and the shadows moved and could be kind of related to placement of objects, placement of characters, and it was good. It's actually faked because the game was made in free Unity. I didn't have any shadows within the game kind of proper, so what I did was they're kind of stretched rectangles. So I place a corner of the rectangle at each corner which the shadow is projecting from, and then kind of stretch them off into the distance. Any coder listening to this just lost all respect for me, because that's the most wasteful way you could possibly do this. But it kind of worked, and yeah, we just went with it. And it's one of the things that people seem to like. So yeah, fortunately it's rectangles, so I can be wasteful.
It's really cool.
Okay, so this is the moving platform corridor. This was an attempt to bring in something that's going to become very important in a very short amount of time, the moving platforms. It's really hard to introduce moving platforms because moving platforms move, and that makes them challenging and makes them a kind of a complex interaction. So what the corridor here allows me to do is introduce you to the idea that sometimes the ground moves, but in a way that doesn't actually kind of impact you too much and won't cause you, hopefully, to get too stressed out. People seem to like it. It's kind of a bouncy castle level. People tend to have fun as they move through it, which is quite cool. And yeah, it looks interesting, and hopefully it just kind of introduces the concept. This is the most important level in the game. This is the point where I basically get to the point. And arguably I should have done it a little bit sooner. However, this is where it is, and that's fine. So this is the point where the player has to learn how to switch characters, which is kind of the basis of the entire thing, is this switching between the characters. This is also actually one of the first levels. This is almost identical to the version that was in the original Flash game. You have two characters, both on the wrong side with their alternating targets. It's hopefully a space that makes a lot of sense. Kind of logically you can understand what's going on with it. There's no lighting that's complex in it. It's quite flat. It's intentionally, hopefully, everything about this level is designed to get out of your way so you can learn essentially, a few things. One, how to switch characters, obviously. Two, how to, the targets. The targets are specific to the character. And three, the difference in abilities, so you should work out that Chris needs help. If I can get those 3 lessons to you, and if you've completed the level, then you've learned all those lessons, the rest of the game becomes much, much more achievable. This was a weird little accident, this level, actually. There's on Thomas on the right